Some people think family is forever. They think blood means loyalty, that shared history means unconditional love. I used to believe that too. Until my little brother looked me dead in the eye, 3 weeks before my wedding, and said the words that would change everything. Sarah, honestly, the greatest gift you could give me on your wedding day is if you just disappeared from our lives. He didn't stutter, didn't hesitate. He said it like he was ordering coffee. And my mother just sat there, silent, nodding. That was the moment I realized I'd spent 32 years loving people who saw me as nothing more than an inconvenience. So I did exactly what they asked. I disappeared. But not in the way they expected. Before we continue, if you've ever felt invisible in your own family, if you've ever been told you're too sensitive when you ask to be treated with basic respect, if you've ever sacrificed pieces of yourself trying to earn love that should have been free, I need you to hear this. You are not selfish for choosing yourself. You are not cruel for setting boundaries. If this story resonated with you, please subscribe. These stories matter. Your story matters. And sometimes we all need to hear that we're not crazy for wanting to be loved the way we deserve. Please comment where you are watching from. Let's dive in. To understand how it got to that point, you need to understand my family. I'm the oldest, born when my parents were young, broke, and still figuring out how to be adults. My childhood was functional. Dad worked double shifts at the plant. Mom took evening classes while I played quietly in the corner of the community college library, coloring on scrap paper because we couldn't afford the good stuff. They did their best. I don't blame them for the struggles. But then, 8 years later, everything changed. My brother Marcus was born. And suddenly, our family went from black and white to Technicolor. By the time Marcus arrived, Dad had been promoted to management. Mom had her nursing degree. They'd bought a house in a better neighborhood. They had savings, stability, security. Marcus got the childhood I'd only seen in commercials. New toys, birthday parties with bounce houses, family vacations to Disney World while I stayed home with Grandma because someone needs to watch the house. I told myself it didn't matter, that I wasn't jealous. But kids notice everything. When Marcus was 7, I was 15. He wanted to join the traveling soccer league, the expensive one with the uniforms and the out-of-state tournaments. I'd been saving for 2 years to go on my school's trip to Washington, D.C., working after-school jobs, babysitting, selling old books online. I had almost enough. One night at dinner, Dad cleared his throat. "Sarah, honey, we need to talk about your trip." I remember my stomach dropping before he even finished. Marcus's soccer fees are higher than we thought, and with the tournament schedule, we'll need to cover hotels, gas money, meals. Mom jumped in quickly, her voice artificially bright. "You understand, right, sweetie? You can go to DC anytime, but Marcus, this is such an important developmental opportunity for him." I wanted to scream that I'd worked for that money, that I'd earned it. But the look on their faces told me the decision was already made. So I smiled, nodded, handed over my savings, and I watched Marcus spend my DC trip fund on matching cleats and a personalized duffel bag. This became the pattern. My college fund? Needed for Marcus's private tutoring. My graduation party? Postponed because Marcus had a playoff game the same weekend. My acceptance to State University? Celebrated with a quiet dinner at home while Marcus's middle school honor roll made the family Facebook page with 30 photos and a status about raising a genius. I met Michael during my junior year of college. I was working 3 part-time jobs to afford tuition. My parents had explained that Marcus's education fund needed to be protected, and I was already so independent and capable. Michael was a TA in my economics class, soft-spoken, thoughtful, with eyes that actually saw me. Our first real conversation happened in the library at midnight. I was crying over my laptop, trying to figure out how to pay for next semester after my hours got cut at the campus bookstore. He sat down across from me without asking, just slid a cup of terrible vending machine coffee toward me. Want to talk about it? I told him everything. The weight I'd been carrying alone for so long just poured out. He didn't pity me, didn't tell me my family must secretly love me deep down. He just said, "You deserve people who celebrate you, not just tolerate you." We were inseparable after that. Michael became my safe place, my proof that I wasn't unlovable. My family had just never bothered to try. When Michael proposed 2 years later, I was terrified to tell my family. Not because I thought they'd disapprove of him. They'd barely bothered to meet him. I was terrified because I knew what would happen. And I was right. I called Mom to share the news, my hand shaking as I held the phone. "Oh, how nice, honey." Her voice was distracted. I could hear the TV in the background. "Marcus, turn that down, please." "Sorry, Sarah, what were you saying?" "I'm engaged, Mom. Michael proposed last night." "That's wonderful, sweetie. We should get together soon to talk about it." "Oh, before I forget, did you get Marcus's birthday check?" He mentioned he didn't receive it. My brother's birthday check that I'd sent from my own account because our parents had forgotten. Again. "Yeah, he should have it by now," I said quietly. "Great. Listen, I need to run. Marcus has practice. But congratulations. We'll talk soon." She hung up before I could respond. Michael found me on the couch 20 minutes later, still holding the phone, tears streaming down my face. "They don't care," I whispered. They don't care." He held me while I cried. And for the first time, I let myself feel the grief of it. The grief of being the daughter they never wanted. I should have eloped. Every fiber of my being screamed to just run away with Michael, get married at a courthouse, and start our lives without the weight of my family's indifference. But some stupid, desperate part of me still hoped. Hoped that my wedding would be the thing that finally made them see me. So we started planning. Michael's family was incredible. His mom immediately started texting me venue ideas and asking about color schemes. His dad offered to help with costs. His sister wanted to throw me a bridal shower. My family? Radio silence for 3 weeks after I sent the save the date email. Finally, I called my mom directly. "Oh, the wedding." "Yes, sorry, honey. Things have been so busy. Marcus is applying to colleges, and you know how stressful that process is." "Mom, I need to know if you're coming. I'm finalizing the guest count." "Of course we're coming. Don't be silly." She paused. "It's not going to be during Marcus's graduation weekend, is it? Because we absolutely can't miss that." My wedding was in June. Marcus's graduation was in May. They weren't even close. "No, Mom, different months entirely." "Oh, perfect, then we'll be there." She said it like she was doing me a favor. The real problem started when I asked my brother to walk me down the aisle. My dad had passed away 2 years earlier. Sudden heart attack, devastating and unexpected. In his absence, I'd imagined my little brother stepping up, being there for me the way I'd always been there for him. I invited Marcus out for coffee, just the two of us. He showed up 20 minutes late, scrolling through his phone as he slid into the booth across from me. "What's up?" he asked without looking up. "I wanted to ask you something important." "Okay," still scrolling. "Marcus, can you please put your phone down?" He sighed dramatically but complied, giving me the kind of look you'd give an annoying telemarketer. I pushed past the hurt. "I know Dad isn't here anymore, and I know this is unconventional, but would you walk me down the aisle at my wedding?" He blinked at me. "Seriously?" "Yes, you're my brother. You're the closest thing to—" "Sarah, that's weird. I'm your younger brother, not your dad." "I know, but why can't Michael's dad do it? Or just walk by yourself? I don't know, it feels awkward." The rejection stung, but I tried to hide it. "I just thought, since we're family." He cut me off with a short laugh. "Look, I'll come to the wedding, obviously, but I'm not doing some symbolic walk or giving a speech or whatever. That's just not my thing. Not his thing. Being there for his sister wasn't his thing. I left that coffee shop and cried in my car for an hour. 2 weeks before the wedding, we had a family dinner. Mom had insisted on it, said we needed to all connect before the big day. I should have known better. I arrived at their house with homemade lasagna, a bottle of wine, and what remained of my hope. Marcus was on the couch, playing video games. Mom was on her phone, scrolling Facebook. "Hi, everyone," I said, setting the food on the counter. "Oh, Sarah, you're early," Mom said, not looking up. I was 15 minutes late. "Should I just put this in the oven?" "Sure, honey. Marcus, pause that game and come help your sister." Marcus groaned but didn't move. I put the lasagna in the oven myself. Dinner was worse. Marcus spent the entire meal talking about his college acceptances, his scholarship offers, his plans for the future. Mom and I hung on every word, praising him, celebrating him. When he finally paused to take a bite, I tried to join the conversation. "So the wedding venue sent over the final timeline. The ceremony starts at 4 and—" "Oh, about that," Marcus interrupted. "A bunch of my friends are planning a grad trip the same week. What day is your wedding again?" "June 14th, Saturday." He made a face. "That's literally in the middle of the trip." "You've known the date for 6 months, Marcus." "Yeah, but I didn't know about the trip until last week." Mom jumped in. "Sarah, is there any way you could move it? Even just a few days?" I stared at her. "Move my wedding?" "Mom, we have 100 guests confirmed. The venue is booked. I'm just saying, it's not like it has to be that specific day, right? Marcus's graduation trip is really important to him. This is a big milestone." And there it was. The truth that had always been obvious but never spoken. Marcus's milestones mattered. Mine didn't. I don't remember standing up from the table, but suddenly I was on my feet, hands shaking, voice louder than I'd ever heard it. "No." Mom blinked. "What?" "No, I'm not moving my wedding. No, I'm not rearranging my life. No, I'm not doing this anymore." Marcus rolled his eyes. "God, Sarah, it's not that deep. I was just asking." "You weren't asking, you were expecting, just like always." "What's that supposed to mean?" His voice had an edge now. And that's when it all came out. 24 years of swallowed feelings. Every sacrificed dream, every forgotten birthday, every time I'd made myself smaller so they could make him bigger. I told them everything. How I'd paid for his soccer with my DC money. How I'd worked 3 jobs while they protected his college fund. How they'd forgotten my graduation, my engagement. Every milestone I'd ever had. How invisible I felt. How exhausting it was to love people who only saw me as a supporting character in Marcus's story. Mom's face went pale. "Sarah, that's not fair. We've always—" Don't you dare tell me you've always treated us equally. Because we both know that's a lie." Marcus stood up, face flushed with anger. "You know what your problem is, Sarah? You're jealous. You've always been jealous that I'm doing better than you." The room went silent. "Better than me?" My voice was quiet now, dangerous. "Marcus, I put myself through college. I built a career. I found someone who actually loves me. What exactly are you doing better?" "I got a full ride to college. I have actual prospects. I'm not scrambling to plan some basic wedding to a guy with no ambition." Michael. He was talking about Michael. The man who'd shown me more love in 3 years than my family had in my entire life. "Get out," I said. "What?" "This is your house, but I'm leaving. I'm done." I grabbed my purse and headed for the door. That's when Marcus said it. "Honestly, Sarah, the greatest gift you could give me on your wedding day is if you just disappeared from our lives. You're exhausting, Every conversation is about how hard you've had it, how unfair everything is. We're all tired of it. I turned slowly. Mom was still sitting at the table, silent, not defending me, not telling him to apologize, just nodding slightly, like she agreed. "Okay," I said quietly. "I'll disappear." I walked out and didn't look back. Michael found me in our apartment, sitting in the dark. "Baby, what happened?" I told him everything, every word. When I finished, he just held me. "What do you want to do?" he asked. "I want to uninvite them." "Then do it." "But they're my family." "Sarah," he pulled back to look at me. "Family isn't supposed to make you feel like this. They're supposed to show up, to celebrate you, to care. What if I regret it? What if you regret letting them ruin the happiest day of your life?" He was right. I'd spent 3 decades trying to earn love that was never going to come. It was time to stop. I sent the email that night. Short, simple, final. Mom and Marcus, after careful consideration, I've decided to uninvite you from my wedding. Marcus asked me to disappear from your lives, and I'm granting that wish. Effective immediately, I will no longer be participating in this family. I've spent my entire life trying to earn your love and attention. I've sacrificed, compromised, and shrunk myself to make room for Marcus's needs. And in return, you've made it clear that I'm an afterthought at best and a burden at worst. I deserve better than that, so I'm choosing better. Don't contact me. Don't show up at the wedding. I'm done. Sarah. I hit send before I could second-guess myself. The responses came within minutes. Mom. Sarah, you're being dramatic. We love you. Let's talk about this. Marcus. Seriously? You're that sensitive? It was just a comment. I blocked them both. The next 2 weeks were surreal. Part of me kept expecting to feel guilty, to cave and reach out. But instead, I felt lighter. Michael's family wrapped around me like a warm blanket. His mom took me shopping. His dad helped finalize the music playlist. His sister organized a bachelorette party that made me laugh until I cried. For the first time in my life, I understood what it felt like to be chosen. Not tolerated, not managed. Chosen. The night before the wedding, Michael's mom found me on the venue balcony, looking at the stars. "You okay, sweetheart?" I nodded. "I think so. It's just weird. Getting married without my mom here." She sat beside me. "Can I tell you something?" "Of course. Family isn't about blood. It's about who shows up, who sees you, who fights for you." She took my hand. "Your mom and brother had 32 years to show up. They didn't. That's their loss, not yours." Tears spilled down my cheeks. "Thank you for everything." "No, honey, thank you. For loving our son. For being brave enough to choose yourself. We're so proud to call you family." I ugly cried into her shoulder for 10 minutes. And it felt like healing. The day was perfect. Sunny, but not too hot. A gentle breeze. Everything exactly as we'd planned. I waited in the bridal suite, my hands trembling as I adjusted my veil. Michael's sister was my maid of honor. She caught my eye in the mirror. "You look stunning. How are you feeling?" "Terrified, happy. Both?" She laughed. "That sounds about right." There was a knock at the door. Michael's dad poked his head in. "Ready, Sarah?" I'd asked him to walk me down the aisle. He'd cried when I asked. "Ready," I said. As we walked toward the ceremony space, my heart pounded. What if they showed up anyway? What if they caused a scene? But as the doors opened and I saw the rows of smiling faces, Michael's family, our friends, co-workers who'd become chosen family, I realized something. They weren't here. And I was okay. More than okay. I was free. Michael cried when he saw me. The ceremony was beautiful, intimate, full of laughter and tears and promises that felt real. When the officiant said, "You may kiss the bride," Michael pulled me close and whispered, "I'm so proud of you." Not for the wedding, not for how I looked, for choosing myself. We kissed, and the crowd erupted in applause. As we walked back down the aisle, hand in hand, I felt something I'd never experienced before. Complete. Whole. Enough. Exactly as I was. The reception was a blur of joy, dancing, toasting, laughing until my face hurt. Michael's dad gave a speech that had everyone in tears. He talked about gaining a daughter, about watching me bloom, about how proud he was to stand in where my own father couldn't. I danced with Michael, with his dad, with his mom, with friends who'd shown up in ways my blood family never had. Around 9 p.m., my phone buzzed. I'd forgotten to leave it in the bridal suite. "Mom, I can't believe you actually went through with this. You're breaking this family apart." "Marcus, hope you're happy. Mom's been crying all day." I stared at the messages for a long moment. Then, I handed my phone to Michael's sister. "Can you put this somewhere I won't see it for the rest of the night?" She grinned. "With pleasure." I went back to dancing. Michael and I spent 2 weeks in Italy for our honeymoon. No social media, no phones except for emergencies. Just us, wine, pasta, and the most peaceful 2 weeks of my life. On our last day in Rome, I finally checked my messages. 43 texts from my mother, 27 from Marcus. My stomach churned as I scrolled through them. The first few were angry, accusatory, blaming me for being dramatic and selfish. But then, around day 5, the tone shifted. "Mom, Marcus's graduation trip fell through. Apparently half the group backed out and they had to cancel. Mom, he's been really down. I think he was looking forward to you being there for his graduation." I almost laughed. He wanted me at graduation after telling me to disappear. But I kept reading. "Marcus, graduation sucked without Dad. I thought it wouldn't matter, but it did. I know you're mad, but I still needed you there. I think we need to talk, really talk." The last message was from yesterday. "I've been thinking a lot about what you said, about how we've treated you. You were right. I'm so sorry, Sarah. Please call me." I showed Michael. "What do you want to do?" he asked. "I don't know. Part of me wants to ignore them forever, but another part wants closure? Maybe, or just an explanation, an acknowledgement. Then call, but remember, you don't owe them forgiveness just because they finally noticed." He was right. I didn't owe them anything, but maybe I owed myself the truth. I called my mom from the hotel balcony, overlooking the Roman rooftops. She answered on the first ring. "Sarah." Her voice was thick, like she'd been crying. "Hi, Mom." Silence. Then, "I'm so sorry." I waited. "I've been replaying everything you said, for weeks. And you were right, about all of it." "Why?" my voice cracked. "Why was it always him? Why was I never enough?" She was quiet for a long moment. "When you were born, your dad and I were so young, so broke. I was terrified every single day that I was failing you, that I wasn't enough. So you decided to ignore me?" "No, I decided that you were strong, that you didn't need me the way Marcus did." "Mom, I was a child. I needed you too." "I know," her voice broke. "I know that now. But back then, Marcus was so anxious, so sensitive. Everything was hard for him. And you were just easy. You figured things out. You survived." "I survived because I had no choice." "I know. And I robbed you of your childhood because I was too afraid to admit I was failing both of you." I hadn't expected honesty. "What about Marcus? Does he even understand what he said to me?" "He's starting to. The graduation thing, it shook him. He realized that all his friends, all the people he thought would be there, they bailed. And the only person who'd never bailed on him was you. And he'd thrown you away. That's not my problem to fix. I know. I'm not asking you to fix it. I'm just telling you. He knows he messed up. We both do. I stayed on that balcony for an hour after we hung up. Michael brought me wine and sat quietly beside me. "What are you thinking?" he finally asked. "I'm thinking, I don't know if I can forgive them, not yet. Maybe not ever." "That's okay." "But I also don't want to carry this anger forever. It's exhausting." "So don't forgive them. Just let it go. Not for them, for you." I looked at him. "How did you get so wise?" He smiled. "I married the strongest woman I've ever met. She teaches me things." When we got back from Italy, I sent my mom another email. "Mom, I appreciate your apology, I do. But I need you to understand that an apology doesn't erase 32 years of neglect. I'm not ready to have you back in my life, not fully. Maybe not ever. And I need you to respect that. If you and Marcus want to rebuild a relationship with me, it's going to take time, years probably. And it's going to require consistent effort from you. Not grand gestures, but small, daily choices to show up. I'm open to occasional calls. Supervised visits maybe, down the line. But you don't get to come to my house. You don't get access to my future kids. You don't get to be part of my life until you've proven you can actually see me. I'm not your supporting character anymore. I'm the main character of my own story. And if you can't respect that, then we're done. Sarah. Her response came 2 days later. I understand. I'll do whatever it takes. Thank you for not closing the door completely. My mom started therapy. She sent me a text every Sunday. Just small updates, nothing demanding. Planted tomatoes in the garden today. Thought of you. Saw a cardinal. Reminded me of when you used to collect bird facts. Proud of you, always. They were small, but they were consistent. Marcus sent a letter, an actual handwritten letter. In it, he admitted everything. The jealousy he'd felt toward me for being independent. The pressure he'd felt to be perfect. The realization that he'd pushed away the one person who'd always had his back. He didn't ask for forgiveness. He just said, "I'm sorry, and I'll spend the rest of my life trying to be the brother you deserved." I cried when I read it. Not because I was ready to forgive, but because, for the first time, I felt seen. A year after my wedding, Michael and I found out I was pregnant. I told his parents first. They cried, celebrated, immediately started planning the nursery. I waited 2 weeks to tell my mom. We met at a neutral coffee shop, her idea. She looked older, tired, but there was something different in her eyes. Softness, awareness. "I'm pregnant," I said simply. Her face crumpled. "Oh, Sarah. I'm not sure what role you'll have in this baby's life yet. That depends on you." "I understand. But I wanted you to know." "Thank you." She reached across the table, hesitated, then pulled back. "Can I ask, how are you?" Not about the baby, about me. It was the first time she'd asked in years. "I'm good, Mom, really good." And I was. People think disappearing means running away. But sometimes disappearing means something different. It means removing yourself from spaces where you were never truly valued. It means choosing to be seen by people who actually look. It means letting go of the exhausting work of earning love from people who should have given it freely. When Marcus told me the greatest gift I could give him was to disappear, he thought he was pushing me away. But actually, he set me free. He gave me permission to stop fighting for crumbs, to stop begging for a seat at a table where I was never welcome, to build my own table with people who celebrated me. And you know what? My table is beautiful. 2 years after my wedding, Marcus got engaged. He called to tell me himself. Hey, Sarah, I wanted you to hear this from me. I proposed to Emma last night. Congratulations, I said carefully. Silence. Then, I know I don't deserve to ask this, but would you come to the wedding? I thought about it, really thought. Marcus, I'll come, but not as your sister who forgives everything, as someone who's cautiously optimistic that you're trying. That's fair. And if you mess up again, if you ever make me feel invisible again, I'm gone. For good. I understand. And Sarah? Yeah? I don't want Mom to walk me down the aisle. I want you. I almost dropped the phone. What? You were right. About everything. You were always there, and I threw it away. I can't undo that. But I can try to honor it now. Tears streamed down my face. I need to think about it. Take all the time you need. I did walk Marcus down the aisle, not because I owed him, but because I'd healed enough to choose it. Freely. At the reception, he gave a speech. Most of you know my sister Sarah, but you don't know the full story. You don't know that she paid for my childhood with her own. That she sacrificed her dreams so I could chase mine. That she loved me even when I didn't deserve it. He looked directly at me. Sarah, you asked me once to walk you down the aisle, and I said no. I was selfish and cruel. But you walked me down the aisle today anyway. Not because you had to, but because you're a better person than I ever gave you credit for. He raised his glass. To my sister, the strongest person I know. I'm sorry it took me so long to see you. The room erupted in applause. And for the first time in my life, I felt like maybe, just maybe, we could find our way back to each other. Not as the family we were, but as the family we could choose to become. Here's what I learned. You can't make people love you the way you need to be loved. You can't earn affection that should be freely given. And you can't sacrifice yourself into mattering. But you can choose yourself. You can set boundaries. You can walk away from people who make you small, even if they share your blood. And you can build a family from the people who actually show up. Marcus thought he was asking me to disappear, but really, he gave me permission to appear, to step into the light, to take up space, to matter. And that was the greatest gift of all. Not because he meant to give it, but because I was finally ready to receive it.